Cowards! Run away! Run away, cowards! Run away! What a bunch of cowards! Run! Oh, we already got your plate, dummy. Way to hide it, though. See what you're doing? Oh, hiding your plates. Already got your Michigan bullshit, dummy. Come on. Going out live. It's all been gotten.
Welcome, we're live. Mike Crawford, Young Jerks. I wanted to open up with just a little bit, a taste of Patriot Care. Not Patriot Care, that's a dispensary. Patriot Front. Let's just call them the Nazis. The Nazis came to Boston this weekend and got run out of town by some of our friends. One of them who you hear in that video, Rod Weber, he's going to be hopefully joining us in a little bit. But first, we have an interview that we're going to kick off the show with. Again, my name is Mike Crawford. This is the Young Jerks. We got Mara Dolan running for governor's council. She's going to come up on the show. We're going to interview her in just like a few seconds. She's waiting for us patiently. But I did want to let everyone know that we're definitely going to be covering some other topics. We're going to hit a quick interview with Mara Dolan about governor's council, local politics, local campaigns. And then we're going to get right into the Patriot Front. The Nazis coming to Boston, their little hate cults. We're going to play some audio and video from them tonight. Very interesting. Very interesting. A lot of interesting things happening in America. We will be talking about some of those things. Stick around. Post your comments like you always do. We got a lot more coming with the Young Jerks. I'm really happy about the show. Let's bring up the guest, Mara Dolan, who was I'm sorry, I ambushed you. I didn't mean to do that to you. You were fixing your hair, and that's the moment I put you up. I'm sorry.
It's never actually dried today, but that's all good. It's all good. I'm just too busy on the campaign trail, seriously, which is great.
This is a tough hair day today, actually. I was outside.
That's true. It
was very humid and rainy and on and off. I didn't even get a good introduction to you. I definitely should. I've known you for a while. You're somebody that we often see on local television. What is it? Channel 10? Is it? No, or New England cable
NBC
news?
Boston, NECN. Yeah. I've done Channel 5, WGBH.
Yeah, yep. WGBH is another one. So you're a local media person that often talks about politics. You also have a political action committee that you've worked with. I know you've run for office before, but the big thing for us is that you're a friend of the show. You're a friend of mine.
Thank you. Yes.
We really like you. We've always liked you from the moment
I like
we
you
met
too.
Because you're real. You're really like you play between two worlds, which I like. You get things done. I want to thank you right off the top of the bat, Mara Dolan, for the Ed Markey interview. Senator Ed Markey came on the show, and it was started through you. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. You get things done. You helped the Young Jerks by getting Senator Ed Markey on here, and that was a great interview.
Well, you really wanted to go on, so
yeah, it got reported nationally.
Wasn't a hard sell.
Yeah, and I think it helped him too, and I think so you're smart. That's what I like about you. You from the moment I met you, you got what we're doing, but you're also someone who's a mover and shaker in local politics, and the big thing that we like most about you is the work that you've done in your career as a public defender. You've defended working class people who are destitute, and families, and local courts for how many years now?
15 years. Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of political work, but I've been a public defender for 15 years. I've worked in the superior courts, the district courts, and the juvenile courts in Lawrence, in Worcester, in Springfield. And I really have a very thorough understanding of the issues that we're facing in the court system. And that's why I'm running for governor's council.
I was so excited when I found out that you were running for governor's council, because I know how important it is with what we've seen with the local judges, the way that they act and the way that they get appointed.
Let me just quickly tell folks, if you don't know what the governor's council does, don't worry. A lot of folks don't. A lot of folks do, but a lot of folks don't. And it's very simple. They pick our judges. It's the governor's council that decides who our judges are going to be. They also choose our parole board members and who gets a commutation or a pardon. So in Massachusetts, we don't elect our judges, but we do elect the people who choose them. And you have a say through your governor's council in determining who our judges are. It's extremely important.
And most of the judges, for people that don't know, especially with Charlie Baker having been in there for 8 years, mostly white, rich men who are either law enforcement or have like corporate backgrounds. It's not generally public defenders or people who are, representing the smaller folks. It's generally people who want to, block
and
people away, throw the key
we've
at
never had a public defender on the governor's council before. So I do think we're long past the time when we should have had that critical perspective. I'm thrilled that Ketanji Brown Jackson is on the Supreme Court. We've got a former public defender on the Supreme Court. We need more public defenders to be judges. And in fact, when Senator Mike Barrett endorsed me, he said that our judiciary is loaded with former prosecutors and we need balance. And it's absolutely true. We do.
I mean, we've even seen police on there too. Like, I think there's even like some state police that are judges. It's like, but mostly, like you said, prosecutors, people who have done a career of putting people in jail. Now they're a judge. Which side do you think they're going to be on?
Well, the thing is, I work with a lot of prosecutors who who would be wonderful judges. I'm not anti-prosecutor, but the fact is, if you're a defense attorney, your training is to question things in ways that prosecutors are never trained to do. And the other really important piece of this is that prosecutors don't have the kinds of conversations that defense attorneys do with their clients. So no one who has only worked as a prosecutor understands the population that goes into our courts. A public defender does. I talk to people who don't have money. My clients are not the elites. They don't have money. They don't have connections. What they have on their side is the rule of law. And so we've got to have public defenders and people with that perspective on the governor's council to help us decide our judges, our parole board members, and who gets a commutation or a pardon. And
it's that perspective. Again, I would 100% agree with you. I'm not anti-prosecutor.
No, I know.
I'm sure there's some great prosecutors that are judges, but when the majority of them that have been appointed are just one thing, that's not representing.
No. And what that means is they are judging people without ever having had conversations with the kinds of people they're judging. So they really can't judge the whole person, and they may make assumptions that simply aren't correct.
Now, you mentioned one of the endorsements that you got. I know you've had other endorsements. Senator Brownsberger recently.
Yes. Will Brownsberger was the judiciary chair in the Senate when Massachusetts passed our landmark criminal justice reform bill in 2018. And that included reforms to minimum mandatory sentencing, probation, juvenile justice, solitary confinement. So I see the impact of that work in our court system every day. So I was really honored to have Senator Brownsberger's endorsement.
What do you have other? I'm sure you have.
Oh, sure. Senator Cindy Friedman has endorsed me. Representative Tom Stanley of Waltham has endorsed me. Representative Ken Gordon, he's up in Bedford. Representative Michelle Socolo in Lexington. I've got a number of union endorsements. I have the IBEW Local 103, the Merrimack Valley Central Labor Council, the Longshoremen, and I've got some I'm really excited about that I can't announce just yet, but I will soon.
Excellent. Sounds great. How can people help your campaign right now?
They can go to maradolan.com. And I want folks to know I'm running in District 3, and it's huge. Governor's Council districts are larger than congressional districts. It's the equivalent of 5 state Senate seats. So the district includes parts of Boston, it's Fenway, the South End, Back Bay, Longwood, Beacon Hill, parts of Cambridge, all of Arlington, Newton, Brookline, Waltham, Weston, Watertown. Those are just the W's. It goes all the way up to Burlington, up north to Burlington, and then west all the way to Marlborough. So Acton, Littleton, Ayer, Stowe, all those towns out there, my own town of Concord, Lincoln, Lexington, all the towns around here. It's huge. It's just a huge district.
It's a big district.
Oh, thank you. I see you put my website up there. Thank you so much.
Yes.
The primary is September 6th. Thank you, Facebook user. You're right.
Yes, we've got some comments we're putting up. I'll read them off.
Thank you. And I'm the only person challenging an incumbent governor's counselor in the primary. The only one.
So this is a big race.
It is a big race. And also, I think because of the Supreme Court and the terrible decisions that they've just made, People are very aware of the importance of judges, and they understand that our judges have the power to uphold our rights or to deny them. And so when you tell people what the Governor's Council does, nobody says, oh, everybody says, whoa, that's really important. And it is.
It is. The Facebook user wrote, "We do need new blood in the Governor's Council." So people are maybe getting the message.
Yeah.
I will note that it came up with a lot of the protests that happened in Boston, where a lot of the protesters were brought before a very problematic judge who had his own issues with a firearm, actually. Very interesting character, that guy, in the Boston Municipal Court. And we're looking at, who's been appointing all these right-wing crazy judges in Massachusetts, and it was Governor Baker. So we definitely need, something different at the Governor's Council.
We do. And I'm very optimistic about the nominations that hopefully Governor Healy would make. But if you want to support Maura Healy, we need to make sure that she's working with the best team. So I would ask folks to also make sure that they are taking a careful look at the Governor's Council and making sure that we elect the best people. So if you're in District 3, your vote is really important on September 6th. And I also want to make another point about Roe versus Wade, which is a really stunning statistic about Massachusetts. As many folks know, our law says if you're 15 or younger and you want an abortion, you have to have the consent of a parent or an adult guardian. If you can't get that, you can go before a Superior Court judge and get an authorization. In Massachusetts, it is 1 out of every 4 minors who goes before a Superior Court judge. So we've got to make sure that our judges are 100% pro-choice. And I will not vote yes for any nominee unless I'm absolutely certain that they are pro-choice.
Good example. We haven't done a live show.
Just need to open the door.
Oh, you can go do that. You can do that. Go do it. I have a jog sitting right next to me too.
Come on in. Come on in. I know you love dogs. I love dogs.
Oh, come on. My dog's actually being really good, but many shows he was not. He's getting really better. We've trained him to be good.
Well, I shouldn't have closed I didn't close it all the way.
They wanted to come in with
enough ajar for her to get through. But anyway, she's happy now.
Yeah, I wanted to mention too, we haven't done a live show since Roe versus Wade got overturned. So, I'm glad that you're bringing that up tonight because there's been so much that has been happening. It's like if we don't do a show for a couple weeks now, it's we did do a podcast about Roe versus Wade because it was so important, but live shows sometimes I planned a little more ahead of time and just things have been changing so quickly. And just looking at what happened yesterday on the 4th of July, for crying out loud, it's this country is just crazy. Do you want to have any general comments on whether it's Roe versus Wade or, some of the federal things that are going on, or even the gun control with the shootings or any of that, Mara, because that's on our listeners' minds today.
Well, the idea that weapons of war should be readily accessible because of the Second Amendment is ludicrous and dangerous and needs to go. I think the Supreme Court is badly in need of reform. And I know that some folks are saying that we shouldn't use the term expand the court because that's alienating some folks, and we should talk about reforming the court. And I'm fine with that. Whatever it takes, we clearly need Superior Court reform. And I want you to know the day that Roe versus Wade was decided, I was on duty in Worcester Superior Court. And, we knew it was going to come. We knew they were going to overturn Roe versus Wade. But when it happened, it still hit us all very hard. And I remember seeing young women in court and realizing how much more vulnerable they were than they'd been when they walked into court that morning. It was absolutely devastating. And I also want you to know that pretty much every attorney I have ever worked with was a better lawyer than some of the justices sitting on the Supreme Court of the United States. They are a disgrace to the profession of law. This is an honorable profession, and we are trained to uphold the Constitution, to understand what it means, to uphold people's rights, and to see so many attorneys who, for example, worked with the former president on his terrible lawsuits and attempts to overturn the election is just sickening. The law is is meant to be an honorable profession, and most of us are honorable, but it is very distressing to see the number of attorneys, lawyers who don't take their responsibility seriously.
Now, very well said. Very well said. Especially, the Giulianis of the world and the Eastmans and the Mara Dolan is running for governor's council in Massachusetts. What district is it? District 4, is it?
District 3.
3.
District 3.
District
I'm running against a long-term incumbent. Her name is Marilyn Petito Devaney. She's been in for 23 years. And I got to tell you, I don't have a problem with someone being in for 23 years. What I do have a problem with is the fact that she has never done in those 23 years what I have done thousands of times, which is stand next to a defendant in a court of law as they face a judge. I am in our court system every day, and I see the issues that we're facing there. For example, Mike, the opiate crisis is playing out in our court system every day, and no one is talking about it, to my knowledge, except me. When people talk about the opiate crisis, they talk about treatments. Do we have beds available? Are there medications that are going to help? How many people who suffer from a substance use disorder wind up in court in front of a judge? We have got to have judges who respect the science of addiction and know how to support recovery. I've seen people taken into custody many, many times for relapsing. It's wrong, it's expensive, it doesn't work, and it makes recovery harder. And why is that happening? Because judges who don't understand how to make it better, how to support recovery, are taking people into custody. It's wrong, it's got to stop.
Important stuff.
Yep.
Now, you're talking to people on the campaign trail about the governor's council, what it is. What's kind of their response, number one, and what are, like, besides having some say over the judges that are appointed, what are some of the other things that the governor's council does?
Well, they determine who serves on our parole board, and that's incredibly important because right now we have a backlog. We've got folks who have been approved for parole, but they don't have a home plan, so they can't be released. So it makes it look as if we've approved more people are out on parole or about to be released than are, which is a real problem. We have an issue on the parole board with folks who are don't necessarily have the qualifications that we need. I mean, someone can be well-intentioned and hardworking and a good person, but they don't have the expertise that we need. And right now that is a real issue on the parole board. Then the folks that we've got there are not doing everything that we need the parole board to do. The other issue with the parole board is that they are the ones who recommend folks for pardons and commutations. And I can tell you that in the last 8 years, out of hundreds of applications, you know how many have been approved?
No.
2.
Oh, wow.
2.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen the hundreds of applications. I'm not in a position to tell you how many people should have gotten commutation or a pardon.
I bet it's more.
There's no
2,
way
though.
it was only 2. No way. So we've got to make sure that we have parole board members who are ready, willing, and able to move those petitions along and make sure that people who deserve a commutation or a pardon can get one.
Excellent. I 100% on that one.
Yeah.
And I'll note that there are innocent people who get convicted of crimes. There's no doubt about it. And there's evidence that comes out later that definitely exonerates them. So I think there definitely has to be more than 2. Just looking at the recent headlines, Facebook user writes, the governor's council has one power that isn't talked about.
It's true.
It's to approve the governor's office spending.
Yes, they approve warrants for the general treasury. So in theory, if the governor's council wants to, they can stop the government from spending. So I don't know when the last time they actually did that was. I don't think that's something that necessarily happens very often, if at all. But they do, in fact, have that power. But I did want to bring up also, you raised a very important issue of wrongful convictions. And I'm starting a series that I'm calling Lunchtime Conversations. I'm bringing people on, just the way you do, Mike. I'm bringing people on a Zoom who will talk about all of the issues that come before the governor's council. And my first guest is Daniel Medved, who is the founding member of the Innocence Network, which connects innocence projects around the world. Yep. And he's going to come on to talk about wrongful convictions. He's got a book coming out about how difficult it is to get out if you've been wrongfully convicted.
It happens all the time.
Yep. And that's coming up. If you go to my website, maradolan.com, I think the information is about to be posted. It might not be up yet, but go to maradolan.com. We're posting all the events and you'll be able to find it. I'd love to have folks in on that conversation.
We had a follow-up comment from the same Facebook user. It said, this was important when the Lieutenant Governor, Tim Murray, was in his accident and the governor's office refused to release his phone records to see if he was texting at the time.
I don't believe that would come under the governor's council. But I do recall when that happened.
I do too.
Yep.
We still don't really know what happened. He said he was going to get a Boston Globe or something at
something
like 3
that.
a.m.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounded fishy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's funny because on our StreamYard, people post our comments, and sometimes we see their names if they give StreamYard the permission to post their name ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't know, so sometimes we guess who they are when it says just Facebook user. But
Yep.
this person just let us know, hey, Mike, it's
Don.
me, Dan Fishman, posted
Hi,
about
Don.
that.
Thank you for
Dan,
that comment.
Right? Do you know Dan Fishman?
I don't know. I thought it said Don. Dan?
No, it's Dan. It's Dan.
Dan, I'm sorry.
He's a big time libertarian. He ran for office several times. He's actually a good guy. He's a libertarian that's not like, he's probably the most sane libertarian I've ever met in my life. Like, honestly, I still get fights with him.
He's maybe a genuine libertarian as opposed
he
to
is.
folks who say that they're libertarian, but they're not really. They just like the laws that they like.
And he was working
not the
with
ones that they don't like.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was at one point he was working with like Governor Gary Johnson from New Mexico. And I think he might actually, him and his crew got pushed out of the Libertarian Party. I think the Trumpers took over. Like, the extreme right even took over that. I'm not sure.
The extreme right is, I mean, to have white supremacists marching in Boston was profoundly disturbing. Profoundly disturbing. We are living in. Thanks, Dan.
Dan wrote he was the executive director of the Libertarian Party in Washington.
Well, I'm a Democrat. I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm a member of the Massachusetts Democratic State Committee. I'm the Democratic State Committee woman for the 3rd Middlesex District. And so I'm a Democrat and not a Libertarian. And I really believe in the importance of electing Democrats up and down the ballot. And the governor's council is technically a down ballot race, but it is a constitutional office. And deciding who our judges are going to be has never been more important. And I say that the governor's council is the most consequential, least known elected body in Massachusetts. And it's true. So thank you, Mike, for bringing
I'm going to frame this too another way too. We've been showing a lot of labor issues specifically. And not just labor, but also, actually like wage theft, that's part of labor too, but like things in the cannabis industry too. It's like a lot going on. And a lot of this stuff ends up as lawsuits. Whether it's, there's different places it could go, different venues. Sometimes it's the mass labor board. Sometimes it's the local civil criminal or civil district court or whatever they call them. But there's a lot of lawsuits happening.
Yep.
And one of the most important things for people who are employees who are trying to fight a bad employer is getting a fair judge.
You got it. And that's one of the reasons I have labor union endorsements, because they know that I will always stand strong for labor. I grew up in a union household. And of course, I represent folks who don't have, resources that some other folks have. They have their labor. That's what they've got. And we've got to make sure we have judges who understand that perspective and stand up for working families and labor unions. Yep. Mike, it's been wonderful to be on.
Thank you.
I've got to go, as you know,
yes.
But really, thank you. It's just a treat to see you, and I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't been on the show in a while. I've been on in the past, and it's been lovely. I'd love to come back on. We got the primary on September 6th, and the more folks know about this, the better off we are. So I hope you'll have me back.
Oh, we will definitely do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
September. We should try plan for something August.
That sounds great.
Again, for those just joining,
I didn't even mean to start that. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I'll try to get the next clip. I'm doing everything at once by myself.
No worries. No worries. It's so good to see you, Mike. Thank you. Take care. And everybody, maradolan.com. We're going to do this.
Thank you so much, Mara.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
That was Mara Dolan for Governor's Council. Thank you for coming on the show. We're going to talk about next. We're going to hopefully have Rod Weber coming in. We got a lot of clips that we're going to play. I guess the thing I want to talk about with these Patriot Front meatheads, it's pretty funny. Like they're I don't even know how to say this. It's like a cult. It's like a Jim Jones cult. Looks like, it's like reminds me of Charlie Manson. It reminds me of Donald Trump. We're going to play some clips tonight. The first clip I'm going to play, though, is the Rod Webber. Rod Webber, again, with Lauren. They chase them back to their cars. This was Saturday in Boston. Patriot Front showed up, and they ran through Boston. There was probably 100 of them marching, and it looked like they really didn't stop in any one place for for more than a few seconds. This is their kind of MO. They basically run through town, hoping that no one finds out that they're there so that no one can confront them and they could say it's a big win. They're a bunch of they're a bunch of cowards. They really are. They got masks on, number one, so you can't see their faces. And they basically run through town. They ran through the city of Boston and thought they had a big victory because, there weren't many people to confront them because no one knew that they were going to be there. Word got out on Twitter that they were running through Boston, 100 people. The videos posted. And Rod Webber and Lauren Pespiza found out where they were headed and were on their trail. And they met them. I believe this is at the Orange Line, maybe Wellington. Actually, I'm not sure what station it is, but it's one of those stations. Oh, actually, I know what it is. I believe it's Oak Grove, actually, in Malden. I know it's in Malden. So it's one of the Orange Line stations in Malden. There's a couple of them there. I think it's Oak Grove. And they met these fools as they were getting off the train. And this is what happened. This is part of it. We're going to play a lot more of this.
Grove MBTA stop with my lovely wife, Lauren. And we are waiting for the Patriot Front white nationalist group to get off the train. We don't have 100% oh, here they are. What's up, Nazi guys? What are you doing terrorizing Boston for? Huh? Did you have fun with your little white nationalist group? Did you? I mean, because what's up, dude? What's up? Hey, don't push me. No! Don't hurt me. No one's hurt. You're pushing me an awful lot, aren't you? You're absolutely pushing me.
Nazis, get the fuck out of Boston!
Come on, guys. What's up with your white nationalist shit? Patriot fart is full of farts. Patriot fart. Why are you following after me? They're the Nazis. Bunch of Nazi cucks, am I right? Who's this guy up front? Is that Tommy Rousseau? Nah, you're way too tall to be Tommy. I wonder which cuck this guy is. I am Iron Cuck. Na 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 na. We'll never fuck.
Hey, revolutionary book.
Can you ever get laid? No, no, no. Unless
you most interesting thing
do
you had to do all
pay.
day. That's exactly what I thought. How you guys doing?
Happy
Who am I with today?
Independence Day.
Am I with what's your name? How you doing? What's
Hey,
your
I'm
name?
Rod. What's your name?
Your name is Rod?
Yeah.
My name is Buttford.
Butthead? Hey, Butthead. Hey,
My name's
your
Buttford.
drummer really sucked today, Butthead. Yeah, he really did.
Oh, seriously, you know about drummers. Can you do complex meters and odd times?
Woo! Alrighty, here they go.
There they go.
They're running. Everyone's running.
Run, Forrest. Run, Forrest, run. These guys are the biggest clowns around. I got to look at Thomas Rousseau. There's a guy, Thomas Rousseau. I think Rod Webber just showed up. I think we're going to add him to the stream, maybe. No, not yet. I thought that was him, but nope. The leader, that Thomas Rousseau he was looking for, we get some clips of him. It's so funny because, there was this mass murder that happened yesterday, July 4th, in a small city, or I don't know if it's a town, city in Illinois. And you look at this guy, and he's like a little guy. He's a little skinny guy. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm looking at this Thomas Rousseau guy, and I'm like, they're very much alike. They're little guys. They're little skinny guys, 120 pounds, soaking wet. And that's their cult leader. That's the Patriot Front cult leader. They talk about earning it and hard work and all this other crap. This guy's like had a rich daddy. He's never done any work. He's never had any job. He's never had any career. Never had any. He's a young kid who's just a rich little pampered kid, and that's who they're following. We're gonna play some of his clips tonight. We got Rod Weber on the line. Let's bring him up right now. Let's see what's up with Rod. Rod Weber.
Thing work?
Yeah, you sound good. You sound better than me.
Oh my God.
Made it work.
I made it work at the last second. There was like 5 seconds ago, all I could hear was layer upon layer of echo upon echo. What it was is that I had the live stream open to another Facebook window, and at that last second I clicked it. Now everything's okay. We don't have to make your audience trip out as hard as they will already.
You know? Red on you got red on red, and it looks good. You're the only person I think that pulled this off. Red on red.
It's a look.
Red background, red shirt.
Going for my Free Vermin shirt.
Free Vermin. Okay.
That was when he was in Facebook jail a couple weeks ago. It was tough times in Ponytopia. We thought that we had created the pony infrastructure and the interstate roller coasters for a world of freewheeling rainbow farts and unicorn love, and Twitter just shut him down. There was a big sadness in the force for that week or so. That
did they bring him back on Twitter?
They did. I did my best to engage Twitter in a campaign to tag Twitter support, which Vermin actually had done for me when I was deplatformed from YouTube for 5 months. If you remember that one, it was because I published my documentary, The Oppressed Majority, which was about the straight pride protests.
And so today, related to your most recent movie, which we featured on this show, you and Lauren discussing about what happened. I know some of our listeners might, the viewers might know, some might not know, but you had some FBI harassment and basically grand juries convened about your last documentary movie. Basically the feds messing with you big time for a ridiculous, it's just ridiculous, all of it. And now today, after you chased the Nazis out of Boston, and all these politicians with the same federal officials are doing a press conference today, you showed up, I heard, and I saw some of it. What happened at this press conference with Mayor Michelle Wu and some of my friends, City Councilor Julia Mejia? They were all there. What happened? You showed up. It looked like, I want to call her DA Rollins, but she's not the DA anymore. U.S. Attorney Rollins looked like she wanted to speak to you from the video I saw. So what happened when you showed up at this whole thing and they did a press conference about the Nazis, and you've been harassed by the same FBI and government officials who were there?
Well, so first and foremost, I would say that this group of people make me conflicted. On the one hand, Michelle Wu is a friend of Renters Radio. To those of you who don't know, Renters Radio being my wife's former podcast that she did with Evan George. Michelle was kind enough to go on the show, and to a certain degree, to the extent that one can be friends within the political world, I think Lauren has a kind of a friendship there, and I have met her on a couple occasions myself, and she's likable, and I did not go there to start any trouble. Rachel Rollins also, I'll get to the conflict in a minute, but I should say Rachel Rollins, I think, is very well-intentioned, or was so as a district attorney. And she was kind enough in the straight pride arrest, which I was a part of. That was, if you will, that was the climax of my film, The Oppressed Majority, where I was arrested along with 36 others, or a total of 36, I should say. And I was doing nothing more than filming and walking on the sidewalk, although the police reported something entirely different than that. Now, even then, as district attorney, Rachel was top cop. And so because of police investigations that have gone on, whether it's police, FBI, JTTF, there's so many agencies that have gone after us for really doing nothing more than documenting the political process. And to a certain degree, I will concede that I sometimes poke the bear. I might ask questions that are, well, they're tough. Sometimes I do it in a humorous way, and sometimes I do it in a trolling way, in a way that's meant to provoke or get a response that you otherwise wouldn't get if you just rolled in there with a bunch of softballs. So, long story short, sometimes I fuck with them. Now, I have a bit of a reputation, but fucking with people is constitutionally protected First Amendment speech.
You know what else too? It's fucking with people gets you so often, because I do this too. I do it especially online more than, like, you do it more like in person. I've done it in person a few times to a few people, but mostly I do it on the Twitter or the Facebook, and you'll get someone's attention. You'll get a response and you'll get information a lot of times. And that's exactly, it's people. I don't see why people don't get why that works. Like, it obviously works.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, people always say, why are you do? It's like, why do you think? Like, why? Or like, it's getting an answer. It's getting a response, right?
Got him to speak the truth. I mean, what better thing is there? Especially when whoever you're dealing with has confronted you with lie after lie. I remember with the pot wars there, and you chasing guys down in the parking lot. I mean, that was some serious badassery back in the day. To a certain degree, I
chased him into the last one we did. We chased him into a restaurant. That was, but yeah, we've chased him into parking lots.
Sure, and which I did with Joe Biden. I confronted him with tough questions in a number of parking lots, which I don't think he was appreciative. And he did this sort of, I'm on the phone, but not on the phone. It's just like they're doing to some of these January 6 people that don't want to say the reality.
Did you see that?
Situation.
Did you see the guy?
Johnson.
The reporter goes, I could see you're not on the phone, jackass. And he kept pretending it. And then he's like, oh, he puts it down. It was hilarious. That was
100%. And so, these people are in positions of power, real power. And that being the case, I feel that it should be within our toolkit to be able to, to poke the bear a little bit and, ridicule the king or queen to their face. The people deserve accurate representation, and you're not going to get that unless you actually get people to say the truth. And it's one of the best ways to do it. One of the big ones was even just singing with a guitar, going up to Joe Biden and singing Joe Biden wrote the Patriot Act. And while some people have pointed out that he's not actually listed as the author, he's bragged many times that he had written the legislation which became the Patriot Act. In a song, however, we're not interested in that level of nuance. We can simplify it down to simply Joe Biden wrote the Patriot Act, and it's friggin' hilarious.
It's funny how we all have to be like, every word has to be so correct.
Yeah,
but the right can just make up QAnon and but the thing about us is our side does it to us. Like, it's like because we are concerned about facts. It's like, so what did happen today though? Because you went down there and the FBI's there. I saw that you basically chased the guy away who's with the Joint Terrorism Task Force. Like, they drove away. Like, what happened? They got up there and they wanted to take credit for chasing out Nazis, but you chased them out, and then you ask questions and they don't want to answer your questions. Like, what actually happened today?
Look, I am not so worried about who's taking credit for chasing them out or not. I mean, the reality of the situation is it's all on video. Everyone knows that Lauren and I and Jamie and some of the other anti-fascists who showed up a little bit later, were the ones that shouted them down and actually physically made them run away from us. While I screamed, "Run away, cowards!" Like Monty Python. But so in regard to that JTTF agent, his name, if I'm not mistaken, is Joseph Bonarno. Am I getting that right, Lauren? What Bonaviletto. I'm gonna call him Joseph Bon Jovi. I'm going with Bon Jovi. No.
Joseph, mom sounded name. I mean, that sounds like, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. Lauren being Italian, she says, hey, it's
Banano.
yeah, it's something very Italian. But the point being is that Rachel Rollins, who's now the U.S. attorney, was explaining how FBI, JTTF, and various law enforcement agencies were working together, to do their best to track down Nazis. This was her position, and the article in WGBH was written by Phil Martin. And in that article, Phil had, once again, it was Rachel and I paired against each other. He had gotten quotes from me, and I think he had done so to get a rebuttal, actually, to some of the stuff that Rachel was putting out there. Things to the effect of, we're committed to fighting racism, we're committed to fighting neo-Nazis. And while I wholeheartedly believe that Rachel believes that,
That's what I'd say. I believe that Rachel wants that. I believe Rachel's trying to make that happen.
She wants that. And this is where we come to the part where I'm conflicted, because I appreciate
that she's trying,
that she no-prossed my case, meaning not prosecute with the straight pride arrests. That she helped to make that go up to the Supreme Judicial Court, and she got Richard Sinnott investigated. You were talking about that with your previous guest. He's the guy who shot someone, murdered him in the 80s and got away with it. So these are some unsavory people, supporters of the alt-right. And truth be told, since you brought up Dan Fishman, I wouldn't have mentioned this. But also worked extensely with Samson Richapi.
That's where Dan and like, you're absolutely right, and that's what pisses me off the most about Dan. Absolutely, 100% agree.
And last time I spoke with Dan, we had it out because he was giving Samson legal advice. Now, I know he's not a lawyer. In fact, Samson, I believe, completed law school. For those who don't know, Samson is an organizer and a spying lawyer, but an organizer for Super Happy Fun America and Resist Marxism. These various.
I love this. Now we have Dan Fishman responding. He said, "Sam hates me. I appease him on that." Interesting.
Well, I think that's where we might have disagreed on the little point. I that was a long time ago, so
And I guess he was kicked out of the Libertarian Party of Massachusetts. Samson was. That's what Daniel Fishman is letting us know.
Yes, and that is also correct. I don't want to. I didn't come here to.
No, I know.
Old stories about Dan Fishman and Samson.
There's just two sides to everything. I'm glad you're checking me, and I appreciate that. That's why I have you here, Rod.
Even the Dan Medved that you mentioned a little while ago with your previous guest. I have some issues with his reporting, but
I don't even know who that was. Was that someone that endorsed her? Like, what was that?
No. He was not one of these Super Happy or Resist Marxism guys. He just let's just say he did some reporting about me and what we were doing, and it was not accurate. And I don't want to go through every reporter who's screwed up our story here. That's why I'm here on your show, so I can say it for the people. They can interpret what I have to say and take it or leave it. And
speaking of reporters, because you just did go viral. I mean, basically the video that we played parts of it. There's lots more video. We're gonna play some more videos. I want to get your comments on some of the other videos too. Like, I got some Unicorn Riot video too, audio. I know you've heard before, but I don't know if our audience has. So I want to share that with them. But you went viral like crazy this weekend on the video in the confrontation. Any reporters or people that you really like the coverage, or any that you really hated, or people that screwed you over and didn't give you any credit, or
well, listen, there was plenty of folks that didn't give credit, but it's cool because everyone on TikTok was loving it. And again, they could see what was going down, and for a lot of folks who aren't just walking through life, blindly as a straight white guy and says, I don't know, I don't get it. Let's just say that there were many people thanking us for speaking the way that we did, and saying that it's important, not just for the press to cover this, but to cover what Lauren and I did. And we make a conscious effort to bring a sign with us, which I know Lauren
that
always
sign.
complains about.
Not
because
Nazi. It says Nazi and with an arrow. And
it's big and cumbersome and annoying, and I get it. It's a pain in the ass, but until I say, I'm happy
that
to do
sign
it.
is genius. I love that sign.
Thank
It's just like when you brought it out to the Southie thing and you pointed at them, because people don't know. People are oblivious, especially at these party events like parades.
And that's the point, is that it's always a visual. It's literally a sign that says to people what this is, what is going on, and it shouldn't have to be explained, but there it is. Without it, it's actually giving Patriot Front and NSC 131 exactly what they want, to show that they've gone unopposed, and publicity photos. It's the definition of platforming, and all of these folks have been doing it. Boston.com had done it. WGBH did it. And I mean, I liked Phil Martin's article for the most part, but I pointed out to all of them back in March, when there was the St. Patrick's Day sign hangout or whatever the thing it was that they were doing, that we opposed. All these papers kept showing this photo of them being, in their minds, awesome, rather than the photo of Lawrence standing up to them. And I for the life of me, I'll never get it. The folks on Twitter and TikTok, they understand you shouldn't be doing that platforming crap. And so I would say that that's my big criticism. Gavin from Boston.com, he wrote a great article last time at St. Patrick's Day. He wrote another good one today that just came out a couple of hours ago, and he allowed me to spell it out, what was going on with these guys, not just what went down, but the importance of people like us coming out there. And I think the big thing is that we white folks should always bear in mind, we do have white privilege, and Black folks, Latino, Asians, LGBTQ have a lot in their plate, and they don't need to get tangled up in this. It's enough to see the assault that took place down on Copley Plaza, but there were hundreds, or if not thousands, of people that they must have passed by on that day, and who stood up to them, and why were there no police there? Why was there no FBI? Why were none of these people doing their jobs? And so that was the first thing that I objected to in the press conference. They had a police officer Long, get up there, and he starts, one of the first things out of his mouth was that they didn't see anything happen. And I'm thinking to myself, really? I mean, because if you didn't see anything happen, you just weren't doing your job. And so I challenged him on it. And I said, I mean, it's just patently false. First of all, I was assaulted as coming down the stairs. And he said, wait, you were, yeah, I said, yes, I was assaulted. And so Rachel Rollins jumps in and she says, that was in Malden, right? I said, yeah, it was in Malden. Well, this is a Boston cop. And in my head, and I didn't want to, again, I didn't go there to start trouble. I didn't want to be argumentative, but I was thinking to myself, you just explained to me how this is a federal investigation. The jurisdiction, between Boston and Malden shouldn't be something that they're bickering about. They should be working together. And if if there weren't cops that were tracking it all the way from start to finish, I call BS. Right. And so that's exactly what I did. and they were not happy about it. I said that, I mean, you're either a liar or totally ignorant. And he says, well, how dare you, sir? I am not a liar. And, you know, this was included in
Did any of that get picked up today? Any media picking
yeah,
up?
I think you know, Boston Globe picked it up. The interesting
I'm gonna
angle
check that out.
on the Boston Globe was that they represented me as two different people, and here's how they did it. And I've seen this before. So in you know, the first sentence about me, which is kind of in the first portion of the article, they said that a man heckled you know, the officer, provoking this response. You know, basically trying to show that there was opposition to this kind of philosophy. But then towards the end, they also say Rod Webber, a film director, filmed what transgressed in Malden, and he was approached by U.S. Attorney Rollins, you know, to help in the fight. And so I'm thinking to myself, wait, well, now hold on. Like, so am I a disreputable muckraker?
You're two different people. You're the good guy when they won. Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Boston Globe, good job. Good job, Boston Globe.
Right. Yeah.
Oh
And
my God.
so I sent them a little bit. I sent them a little note, but you know, I'm not gonna hold my breath or lose too much sleep about it.
So we got some different clips because you know, I'm checking out this guy, this Thomas Rousseau guy.
Yeah.
And I am not impressed. Just from the video, there was another guy. What was the other guy's name who was recording from Malden there that was on Twitter?
James Meikle.
Yes, because we're gonna play some of his short clips too. Because I think this is so important to show. He's got Thomas Rousseau, and it's like these goofballs act like this guy's like Charlie Manson, the leader of Scientology. What's that guy's name? David Miscavige. They act like he's Miscavige, or they act like he's Tom Cruise. They act like he's Charlie Manson, Jim Jones. You know, like,
well, I mean, so
it's
that's
a cult. It's basically a cult. You can see it in this guy. Like, I've noticed like just a couple different clips. There's another clip too. I hope I have it. I'm going to try to play all the clips I have tonight. I'm not even sure if I downloaded them all, but there's just a bunch of different clips where you see this guy. He really thinks he's something. You can just see it in his face and the way he carries himself. He thinks he's like a historic figure. He's really caught up in himself. And their whole thing, you read about it, it's about hard work and how they earn things. It's like, what has he earned? He lived off his parents, and now he's living off his followers. He's a grifter. I mean, that's all I'm seeing. Is that kind of what was your feeling? You were around this guy, this Rousseau guy, very briefly. What's your feelings about this?
So
guy?
I was actually saddened to have missed out on him. I think he was kind of taken up the back. You know, we had confronted them at the front of the line, and so our tauntings and ridicule was limited to those folks. And I guess he was just following at the end.
There was one frame when you got right next to him, it looked like, but I don't think you actually
towards the end
knew,
he did get it. Yeah, he got up in his car, and but it was just I didn't have a real opportunity. You hear in that one clip that you already played that I said, "Hey, is that Tommy Rousseau?" And then I turned around and immediately knew that it was, and I said, "Oh, that guy's too tall." Tommy seems to have classic Tom Cruise, Napoleonic.
Don't they all? All these guys do. It's weird.
And you can see in the footage of him at Unite the Right, he's got a baby boy face, and I think this is part of why he grew the Charlie Manson beard. Not
right.
Like he's
he looks like he's a little baby. Yeah.
That you have.
Yeah.
But they basically came as like a splinter of Vanguard America. They had ties with Rise Above movement and the base. But they wanted to unite the right after Unite the Right. And so remember, Unite the Right being the big thing at Charlottesville. And they're fascist fashionistas. They are very committed to a look.
Aesthetics.
Well, just like Hitler did.
Yeah.
He went to art school and is a failed art student. The reason that we still talk about Hitler to this day is that he filmed everything, and it had to have an aesthetic. And he hired Leni Riefenstahl to film this amazing propaganda film. And I mean, it's awful. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, like, as far amazing in the sense that it warped people's minds. And you can see a lot of the videos that they're putting out. They're really hip to using the glitch software that you can get in the App Store, a lot of just modern editing aesthetics, which is hip and is going to appeal to the TikTok Gen Z generation. And so I mean, you can see in the Unicorn Riot chat logs, I mean, they kind of spell it out how it's not just to unite the white race. Their activism includes going on hikes. There's tons of hiking footage of these guys, and combat training. They'll sit there boxing, and these videos that you've probably seen me. I put the yakety sax on it, the Benny Hill theme song. But they're there with the riot shields, and they practice all these moves.
It's so funny that the leader, I'd go like that and knock him over. And it's all about what you said, the aesthetic and being tough and the training and the work. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
And that's the thing with their signs, there's a uniformity in the way that they get these canvas banners, and they've got certain measurements to make those red arrows with the blue. It's blue and red on white, to give it like a USA American kind of feel. And they want to take it back to the old days, and that's the aesthetic they're giving. And I think that's a big reason why they did this thing in Boston. Word is from the chat logs that we've seen. They had planned to go to Plymouth, drop in Plymouth, maybe some Philly stuff in Washington D.C. for 4th of July. That's where the pinnacle would be, and I think the reality is, because we also got wind of some other chat log stuff, they were so embarrassed by what Lauren and I did to them that they couldn't hold their head up high, and they decided to cancel it. Because, I mean, how does that make any sense that they would do an event on July 2nd, not on July 4th? And I mean, when obviously they're all about capitalizing on that big day, all about the jingoism, the American flag, the American aesthetic. Tommy Rousseau's got the cowboy hat.
Oh, it's unbelievable. The cowboy hat. That's another one. Let's play a couple clips. So,
go for it.
We can talk even over them. There we go. Let's try this one.
Nazis out of Boston! 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 Hey, buddy. Nazis out of Boston! Nazis out of Boston! Nazis out of Boston! Nazis out of Boston!
Take it easy, buddy. That was him. That was the guy.
Yep.
Thomas Rousseau.
Yeah.
It's just it's pretty funny. Like, he's just this little take it easy guy.
Right.
Oh my God. I think we got another one here too. Let's put this one. Oh, here it is.
Too late, bud.
I want to just play that again. That's so weird.
Too late, bud.
Look at the way he walks. He's like all like, oh my God. Goof. They're very serious, like it's like the president or something. It's like, and the guy's like blocking.
Too late, bud.
It's weird. It's friggin'
and so I mean, effectively, what he's done there is create a cult of personality by dehumanizing his foot soldiers, telling them to mask up and saying it's for their safety, which to a certain way of thinking is true. That it makes it harder for anti-fascists to identify them, but in doing so, he becomes the dear leader, if you will, the Kim Jong-il, the Adolf Hitler, the little
leader, the little guy. Yeah.
I mean,
just like Charlie Manson was. He was a little guy too.
Oh, he was a little midget. But I mean,
I'm
that's
sorry. I'm sorry on the little people out there, because I know there's, we can't help how we were born, but
I'm sorry.
it's just, to me though, it's really bizarro that this little guy is the leader of the big tough gang. It's like always the cult leader always is the weakest guy. That's always the way it is.
Oh, for sure. But all he has to do is look good in the photos, and this is what he's realized. And so long as maybe there's only one or two other guys that have their masks off, he's got his Goebbels and minor supporting characters in his own Nazi universe. The one guy that had come up to me in that at the end of the first clip is this guy Paul Gankars. One of the folks that we discovered was in Idaho, arrested there, was Robert Benjamin Whitted. We've got quite an extensive list of license plates, which has helped us to identify Michael Walsh Riley from Stevensville, Michigan. Who else do we have? One that's registered to Kenneth Fisher. Another that's possibly Riley Johnson, a car that belongs to Jared Joseph Cummings, one that belongs to Lindsay Vondrashek, who I don't think is part of Patriot Front, but her son, when I found him on Facebook, John Thomas Vandershek III, age 23, of Denton, Texas. Well, he sure as shit fits the profile. So I'm going to say that he drove his mom Lindsay's car from Denton, Texas, to do his little Nazi hike here. I mean, I could go on and on. There's but I might bore you to tears. Colton Michael Brown, Kieran Morris, Dalton
Chris Hood
Woodward.
was there.
Say again?
You got Chris Hood, right?
Yep, Chris Hood, we believe is there. We don't have a hard photograph of him, but we're pretty sure by the various things that he wears and body type. Yeah.
Very interesting. I mean, this is the, just so people know, like, I mean, I am worried about this group, but in a way, they're kind of a freaking joke. Like, honestly, I know they act like, and I'm sure they have done violence. They will do violence, but the type of shit that they've been doing is basically like vandalism. That's basically what, in marches to try to intimidate people.
All right, so let me fill you in, because if we consider NSC 131 basically like the localized version of Patriot Front, I would say they're a sister city, if you will. NSC 131 a couple months ago on May Day, when they decided that they were bored of chasing around Lauren and I at Dropkick Murphy's throwdowns in South Boston, they decided to start following anti-fascists in Manchester. On May Day, they tracked down a couple and followed these anti-fascists in a car, came up to them in a parking lot and smashed right through their front window while they're in the car, right as they had pulled in. Obviously, there was a confrontation that they had with Lauren and I. They smacked Lauren up against the wall pretty good. I mean, it wasn't a beatdown by any stretch of the imagination. But one has to worry which one of these guys is going to be the new Crimmy. Who's
no doubt about that. I'm not underplaying it like that. I mean, I think that they're definitely capable of violence. I think that you and Lauren especially are like probably the top targets around here because you keep embarrassing them. But I just think I want people to understand kind of the stuff that they're doing. We have a clip from one of the things that they did, and they basically took down a gay pride mural. That's kind of the stuff they're focusing on. And I want them to hear how they operate. It's just like the Trump conspiracy. It's like this leader sits there and micromanages these two henchmen, and the henchmen are going to take the fall. The henchmen are going to go to jail when they get caught, if they haven't even. I'm wondering, do you know what happened on this with the gay mural that they supposedly were planning to take down in California?
There's been so many. I don't remember exactly.
Right? It's tough to keep track of them.
Is this the one in Texas?
No, actually, I think this is in Washington. Let's hear it. Let's put the clip. We'll find out. Actually, I think this may be like Olympia, Washington, or something. There's a few of them.
So Thomas, I was thinking
can hear you.
this
Go.
Clark is going to forward you all the photos he took from scouting it and whatnot, because it has drastically changed from just the open mural on the side of the road. There's construction blocking this one-way street, so there's no vehicles that go down the street. The construction fencing is right next to the mural itself, plus there's that alleyway right there as well. There is a fence that... Yeah, we'll send you the photos. But there's no better time to do that, considering there's this construction. I scout it tomorrow and check it out myself, and then we'll shoot for out probably next weekend.
All right. Start at the first photo. How are you going to? Does this fencing open up on the sides, or are you going to climb over it? What's the plan here?
Okay, so people have already kind of made some holes in it, but I was considering having someone go down there.
Why is the fencing there, by the way? Have people tried? Is this to protect it, or is this something else?
It's to protect it because people don't like faggotry, and so their ideology is so hated that they literally have to put a fence around it.
I don't need a lecture. I'm just asking some questions.
Did you hear that part? Bizarro. These guys are. I just wanted people to get kind of a taste of it. You can watch the whole video on Unicorn Riot. I mean, we could play this whole video, but you just get an idea of what this group's up to. These guys are the locals are talking to the big ringleader, Thomas Rousseau, about their little, we're going to pull down a mural in Olympia, Washington, because it's gay pride. And we don't like it. And Thomas Rousseau is such a icon. He's such a leader. He has to know every detail about the fencing, and he has to be in total control as he micromanages these two local jackasses,
right?
And it's pretty funny. It's pretty telling too. Like he even like says, I don't need a history. Where was it? Let's hear that again. When the guy says the repulsive thing.
Is this to protect it, or is this something else?
It's to protect it because people don't like faggotry, and so their ideology is so hated that they literally have to put a fence around it.
I don't need a lecture. I'm just asking some questions.
So he asked the guy, "Why is there a fence around it?" Guy answers with awful answer, by the way. But then he says, "I don't need a." He did. It's pretty funny. It's pretty telling the way he even talks to his little plebes that are doing criminal offenses for him.
Yeah, so I mean, you can go through the Unicorn Riot chat leaks, and I believe there was 21 or 22 of them, and some of them, they talk about, hey, I was the one who wrecked the George Floyd mural in Lafayette, Indiana. There's other ones where they talk about the quote unquote Jewish question. So this goes beyond what some groups espouse to be, which is they talk about white pride. And that's one level, which I think naturally spirals into another, where they're actively talking about doing harm to another group. And, to no one's surprise, obviously, that's where, this stuff is going. And going through some of this other stuff aside from the Jewish question, they'll talk about like Hitler's German Nazi Party, which was the NSDAP. What else? The Goyim Defense League. They talk about a whites only ethno state. And like I said, they go on these bonding trips. I wouldn't be surprised if they're dropping mushrooms or acid and talking neo-Nazi stuff. And I know, Lauren said a couple times, if we could only slip them some mushrooms and get them thinking the right way. We actually, I think, or at least I reversed on that idea when we listened to their podcast. I should say a related podcast. By I got a podcaster called John Fashcroft, and And one of the big things they were talking about was mycelium networks, and that fascists should work the way that mushroom fibers grow, which they even likened to Antifa, and said that they needed to be more like Antifa in that regard, which is why they've developed cells
Networks.
they've got small groups where everyone in a particular region, let's just say Idaho is Johnny Idaho and Austin Idaho or Bryce Idaho or whatever white guy named Idaho, and the same for Texas or wherever else that might be.
Let's talk about that, because Patriot Front specifically, and this is for a lot of these different groups, obviously what you're saying as well, but for Patriot Front, I saw one of the national researchers talking about they've had the most actions, number one in Texas, number two in Massachusetts. They've come here and done, had more of the stickering and more of the activity, more, these national organizations covering hate. They're recording the number of instances where there's something happened.
Yeah.
And Massachusetts is at the top with Patriot Front. Why do you think Patriot Front is picking Massachusetts, even out of all the other East Coast states?
It's just people of that ideology here. Just guessing, Cambridge is, I've heard them call it Markssachusetts. It's probably pushback on a contingent of people coming out of Harvard, MIT, et cetera, which they feel is way too liberal, which is in contrast to, some neighborhoods in South Boston, like the one that Dropkick Murphys had us meet in, to have this so-called fight with NSC 131. And who knows what's in the minds of these people who hate. All I can say is it's unfortunate, and that's my best guess. I don't know.
What do you I guess what's your suggestion to people listening? What do they do if they see Patriot Front marching down the street?
I'd say call them out directly, to the extent that you can, while still being safe. But they're doing all these pop-up rallies, and it's clear that the cops don't have their fingers on the pulse. Calling the police isn't gonna help. As Officer Long said, "Oh, we don't know, we didn't see them," which says to me again, they don't want to see them. Even looking back at our FBI, or I should say the FBI investigating us, one of the things that we uncovered was Agent Andy Creed, had collaborated with Northeast White Pride. Is that any surprise? Nope, not at all. Of course, his buddy who always came along was Agent Steve Kimball, and he's the guy that took Key and Peele quotes out of context, took Tosh.0 quotes out of context in order to go after the marathon bomber. And, I should say F the marathon bomber, but he nearly screwed up that case because he was just used to the tactic of, make stuff up, get some, go on his Twitter. He posted Key and Peele. Well, let's take that quote as if it's a real thing. And so that's effectively what he was doing with Lauren and I. And so I wouldn't even say that they're as nefarious as COINTELPRO in the 1970s doing the MOVE bombings, or even what J. Edgar Hoover was doing with his dragnets. But they're certainly using the internet and whatever resources they have in order to break people's digital Fourth Amendment rights, in order to get in people's heads and really discourage them from their activism. I think that's really their main objective in going after lefties. Because as we saw, these agents that went after us, we knew one of them absolutely 100% Trump supporter, and we can prove that. I don't want to go into why or how we know that, but
I think you're on point on that.
Yeah,
because I felt it myself. Like when you guys had that stuff happening to you, I got a call from somebody else who had the FBI show up at their house. And that person had just interviewed you guys on his show. And he said to me, I think they're coming to your house next. And, to me, like that, it's not a good thing, you know, a good call to get that, you know, the FBI might be coming to your house because of some of the stuff you're doing that's not illegal. Like, I'm not doing anything illegal. I am doing a show. There's no reason the FBI should be trolling my house for information. They didn't come to my house, thank God. But if they do, you know, I'm ready for them. But I
tell them to go away.
Absolutely think that's part of it. They want to scare people from, you know, because I had thoughts about it. You know, do I want to continue to cover this stuff? Do I want to worry about the FBI coming to my house? You know, so you know,
actually, can I jump in there? Because actually, it was that thought that provoked the second set of comments that I made with Rachel Rollins. So the first set was with Officer Long. Rachel Rollins then brought on this guy from the JTTF, who I guess is FBI, at least according to you know, the live stream on YouTube. Regardless, they work hand in glove, so it might as well be the same thing. And he was just basically saying what the FBI and JTTF, all the things they were going to do. And I said, well, how can so he said he wanted anyone who knew what was going on, to come to them with tips. And that it just blew my mind, because so I said to him, listen, how can anyone come to you with tips when you're actively going after the people who spend the most time researching this? The anti-fascist researchers are the ones that you actually spend the most time trying to throw in jail. Right. You did it with my wife and I. And I'm sure if the wrong people came across your doorstep, you would do it to them too. And it was at that point, Rachel kind of did the wrap it up, and you can see online they turned down the volume so not everyone could hear what I was saying. But naturally I was recording all of it and posted that clip on Twitter too. If you want to play,
is it on Twitter? Can we play it now?
Yeah, for sure.
We can try to play that. It might not,
And then I even chased down after the event was over. I saw the JTTF guy getting in his car. And so I said, hey, can I get a word with you? And he says, no. I said, oh, please, pretty please. We have some tips. And, which I obviously didn't have. I wasn't going to give it to him. I was trolling a little bit. But it proves they're actually not interested in talking to the people who have done the most to do, to research these people.
Let's I'm going to try to play this clip. If I could figure it out on the fly. I think we can.
I believe in you.
I believe in myself. It's just going to take a second, maybe.
I
got the right browser for this too. I wasn't even planning to do this, but I did the right browser just in case.
Yeah, I just figured out StreamYard myself. That was we started using it a couple weeks ago, and not to put down the other services, but I like it quite a bit.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's still,
there's some
still
wonky
difficult to do it by yourself and do everything at once. But
well, I mean, the easiest way is if you have I'll let it go.
A second screen.
About it. You're full of shit.
Oh, what? You jumping in? Yeah. So yeah, start it off. That's the end.
Full of shit. Actual people who are tracking these people, the anti-fascists. When you investigate the anti-fascists, they put 5 grand juries towards us for investigating.
JTTF guy, can I talk to you for a second? Come on, man. Why not? Come on. JTTF guy, please. Come on. Pretty please? Pretty please? No? Come on. Don't you want help? Don't you want tips? You don't want tips? We're the ones doing the research here, and you don't want help from people doing the actual research, do you? You don't care about it. You're full of shit. Full of shit. Full of shit.
How can you expect the actual people who are tracking?
Oh, this is hilarious. It's pretty funny, Rod.
Lauren said I was treating the FBI and JTTF the same way I treated the Nazis, and sort of.
Maybe Maybe.
Yeah, that was not my intention. I guess that's just how I am. You know, when I get going, I get going. When I see bullshit, I call out bullshit. I was trying not to swear earlier, but it's, I guess there was swearing on that. So cat's out of the bag.
Whatever. So Lauren's not feeling well, right?
Yeah, if you can hear her coughing over there, she's.
We wish her well.
Yeah, she didn't want to come on with all the coughing, but now we just get to hear it in the background, so it's even better.
You know, I enjoyed this. I think sometimes when you guys are both together, I get overwhelmed. So I think I like it better with just Lauren or just Rod. I think I for me, anyways.
We can
so
do
far, yeah. It's like three's a crowd to me. You know, it's like I when I first started doing the StreamYard, I started having like 5 people at once, and I was like, no, I can't do this. One-on-one. I like one-on-one the best, but sometimes I do. I mean, you know, if a story, if it's all employees from New England treating access, and we're going to do 5 people, but
I'm a big fan of
I like
3.
one-on-one. You like 3?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's something about 2.
Yeah.
It's more intimate.
I like one-on-one. It's just so easy. It's just like, mostly I could sit back and just let the conversation go.
And then let Dan Fishman pop in, write some comments. And...
Yeah, that was funny. It's funny on the show that sometimes the comments are the best part. Like we get a lot of interesting comments.
Oh, for sure. I'm speaking of Dan Fishman, I'm going to be a libertarian emperor one day. I've already declared it. I am not a member of Libertarian Party currently. I don't believe in libertarian philosophy, but I think, it could be a fun party
to mess around with. To mess around, to be the cult leader of, to be the Jim Jones.
Yeah, I could be their cult leader.
Yeah,
right.
I think that guy from Texas. What's his name? The little guy from Texas.
Tommy Rousseau.
Tommy Rousseau might want to take that position.
Yeah, you never know.
I think he's shooting for the leader of the United States. He thinks he's going to take over. I mean, what is their end goal? Do you think like Tommy Rousseau actually believes that there's anything to this beyond just worship of himself? Do you think like he really believes in this cause, or do you think that he's just feeding his empty ego?
It's empty ego. It's a photo shoot. It's there's no one in their right mind can think that this is Vanguard America is going to take over the United States. I mean, like by and large, because I think that the United States government kind of already is the Fourth Reich.
It's so funny, isn't it? They call Joe Biden a socialist and Obama a socialist, and I'm like, I wish they were. They're corporates. They're basically like what you said. They're the the corporate military industrial alliance. There's like this whole thing going on. It's like it's a softer version of it. It's not.
And I have to say, listening to Mara, your if I'm getting her name right,
Mara Dolan. Yes. Okay.
Your previous guest, she was talking about the judicial system, and having been through it on a number of levels, I have no faith in it. The grand jury system is a way for them to have private tribunals, which is not accountable to anyone. You don't get to read the records. You can't bring a lawyer into the courtroom. And that's basically what they subjected us to. Or I should say our associates. They subjected our associates to that in order to try to throw Lauren and I in jail. And I mean, how should that be a part of a democratic society? Moreover, if someone like Donald Trump has his goons beat me up, which they did in 2015, what's my recourse? Well, I can.
That's what I'm saying. You can go to court and get the money, and that's what I was gonna say. That there's 2 sides to that.
But hear me out though. So I mean, first and foremost, you would want to, in an ideal society, this is not something I'm going to participate in, but you would want to go to the police, and the police would actually go forward and with a criminal investigation and have him criminally charged and not just civilly charged, because there's the old saying that when the penalty for a crime is merely a fine, then those laws only exist for the poor. And that's basically, I knew that's what was happening with my Trump lawsuit. I knew that from day one, but I still wanted to do it on principle. And as Mara pointed out, what judge you get makes a big difference. I've heard it argued that you'd find more uniformity and more fairness in that regard from a monarchy than you would from our system. And I'm not advocating for monarchy, but like when you think
That
about it,
sounds like Trumpism to me. Because
well,
I mean,
yes,
that's
I mean
kind
that,
of the thing. They've you just give it to one guy, and it's
but
our
at
guy.
least, so the argument though is that at least you know what the rules are. Now, I don't think that's a good idea. And they keep saying that this is the best system we have, but so many of these rules, I mean, go back to jurisprudence and like 1600s England, the Magna Carta, and I'm not saying all are good or all are bad, but they've made the laws so intentionally obtuse and complicated. The average person has an extremely difficult time, if not an impossibility, to defend themselves or put forward a case like I do. And you have the American Bar Association, like a single private entity which lords over you, and you have to kowtow to them in order to actually practice law, which seems antithetical to a free society. If I wanted to represent you or Lauren or whoever it is in a case, I couldn't do it. I can represent myself and put forward a civil case, but I found even in that, they were making arbitrary decisions all the time. They threw out all my video evidence, and when I put forward the case, I assumed that would be the crux of the case. Luckily, I actually did the writing quite well, and so many of the counts stuck, and I didn't have to depend on the video. But imagine if I hadn't been as diligent as I was, then it would have fallen apart. And quite honestly, the amount that they paid me, $20,000 from Trump, or I should say the Trump defendants, which includes an FBI agent, and then 15,000 from the police. I mean, 35 grand for putting in 2 years work, and I probably could have made more money working at McDonald's or Walmart.
Walking
per
dogs.
hour. So it was a labor of love or hate, or at least just doing it on principle. We'll put it that way. And I look forward to never doing another case unless I have to, on principle.
I hope I never have to go to court too. That's always something that I don't want to go to the hospital. I don't want to go to court. Those two places are just not fun.
Yeah. I mean, I viewed it as performance art, quite honestly. It was,
right.
it was
For that,
part
it was
of the
different.
show, but it was, it's something I had in my family. Plenty of lawyers around, so
yeah,
figured I could do it too.
So we're the Young Jerks, and my name is Mike Crawford with Rod Weber. We've been talking about Patriot Front and all the craziness this last weekend. Do you think they're going to come back soon, or do you think they're going to just stay out of Massachusetts, and not come back? 100 of them marching down the street again?
Hopefully we've embarrassed them for a while, but I don't think we've seen the last of them. Especially not NSC 131, which I said, it's an offshoot. And so they'll be coming back. And not that I'm particularly afraid or worried about it, but they were made to look like fools. And again, I think that's the important thing. Make them look like fools. Yeah, I mean, what's that song that we're going to do? She wants to do that jump and jive song in khakis. The Gap commercial. That's right.
Gap. Yeah, there was a gentleman who put out a video making fun of their fashion sense. It was pretty funny. I don't know if you saw that one.
We saw that. Yeah, it was good.
I got a question related to that, because you did embarrass them. And I sometimes wonder if embarrassing them, obviously I feel like it works. I feel like it doesn't. Like, maybe they'll back off. It definitely hurts their membership drive, which is really what they want to do.
Yeah.
But do you worry? Because I start to worry about this, that will make them react in a rat. Like, even me, I'm making fun of this guy, Thomas Rousseau, all night. Like, do you feel like that will make them irrational and do something crazily violent,
I mean, it's always a possibility. But I think, you got to get ahead of these things before it gets out of control. I mean, the other option is just sitting back and letting it fester. And that doesn't seem like a good idea. The best disinfectant, as they say, is sunlight. And so just shine a light on these douches and make them look like the fools that they are. I mean, quite honestly, so long as you're calling them on their bullshit, they don't seem to have, many bullets loaded in their intellectual chamber.
It's pretty funny. It's like they have nothing. They're just like keep marching.
I mean, they're kids, and in that regard, I hope that they're scared away, never come back to what they're doing, and find redemption. And I really do believe that that is a thing.
Oh, it can totally happen. I will say this to all of them, any of them listening, like, you can be redeemed, and I will help. I would help you. I would totally try to help, and not that I'm an expert at it on any of this stuff. I think you probably need a cult expert, because I think you are in a cult if you're a member of Patriot Front. But totally, there are people who will welcome you. I believe that. Do you believe that, Rod?
It's a long road, and it's a difficult one. And I believe that if they're to do it, they really have to have that come to Jesus moment, quote unquote, right. Because I noticed, I'll give an example. So there's Super Happy Fun America, there's Resist Marxism. And one of the people in that group had a wolf's angel. It's a neo-Nazi tattoo on his neck. And it's one of the things that I would point out when he was at Resist Marxism or Super Happy events, to say, there it is. It's plain as day. It's on his neck. He's a neo-Nazi. If you're letting, one neo-Nazi at the table, you've got a table full of neo-Nazis. And in those days, we were doing what we could to try to converse with Samson and Brandon and some of the others, hoping that they might reverse course. But they would say to me, listen, man, where else is he going to go? If he's not able to be a part of some group, he's just going to regress into Nazism worse. But the problem with that is that the thing that they believed was him being saved was going to resist Marxism, and which are essentially, glorified Trump rallies. That was their version of toning it down. That was their version of not being a Nazi. And I don't know. I mean, to me, that's not being saved. That's not a redemption.
That's just changing your politics to kind of protect yourself.
Yeah,
that's pretty much kind of like a political makeover.
Yeah, exactly. So you have less Nazi tattoos. Well,
yeah,
good for you.
Yeah. But you're still deep down a Nazi.
Yeah,
but I agree with you. It's a long road, and people have to really mean it. They got to really mean it.
I remember him very specifically showing up at a number of these rallies, literally holding a Trump flag. So, I mean, how does that even make sense? But I don't know. Anyhow, John Camden. I remember, I would see him at Trump rallies.
He's still Patriot Front, right?
His group was American Guard.
Oh, that's right. That was a different one. It's very similar looking.
But yes, so in American Guard, branched off of the Vineyarders.
Yeah.
Or Vinlanders. Which is, kind of has like a Viking motif. And many of these groups are, they're interconnected, just like they were saying, the mycelium networks. And it all bleeds together. So, whether they're calling themselves Boston Free Speaks or Resist Marxism, it's all the same to me.
Definitely. I agree 100% on that one.
But yeah, I just I hope America doesn't split into 1,000 pieces this summer. I mean, because things are getting really sticky, and well, Yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
Do you feel like we hit kind of like a peak on that, or do you feel like it's gonna just continue to accelerate? Because it does feel like the
There's a
last few weeks between Roe versus Wade and the shootings and the murders and just the amount of mass killings over the last 3 months, it's just been outrageous in America. And then Roe versus Wade, and then the Nazis walked through Boston. Like, do you feel like, I don't know, what do you think?
Well, I would
The
say
crime going
that
up?
it always comes down to an inciting incident. So there's always a lot of things bubbling under the surface. And I think the Trump presidency or the possible reelection of him would put a lot of pressure on people's minds. And they felt as if something needed to be done. A protest had to be a real protest, that they had to go hard or forget about it. And so that in combination with the inciting incident was George Floyd. And then, from there, shit just popped off. They were burning down Minneapolis. Things got crazy every night in Portland. And remember, before that was on the heels of Ahmaud Arbery, who was the jogger who was just, these guys just, chased him down in a pickup truck and, shot him dead. So I mean, the thing that kind of just recently happened was this, Jalen Walker, who this guy, they dumped 60 rounds into his back, and that doesn't seem to have turned into an inciting incident. Not that I'm, wanting for these things to happen, but if
You
we're
would
trying to
think
make
after that
predictions,
video, yeah,
it's
you
a
would think
matter.
that
These things,
video is horrific. That shooting is
yeah,
just, you would think that one would. It's tough to
it's
know what's going next.
yeah, it's these things building up, and that's a part of why I went and documented all this stuff. I felt as though regardless of whatever anyone thinks about my politics or trolling Joe Biden or Trump or Pete Buttigieg, I trolled all the politicians. Aside from that, I did my best, to give the future a look at what 2020 was, so that when they look back, that there would be a better record that exists than there would be if I hadn't. Certainly, there are other filmmakers who went out and got into the thick of it, but I mean, during Minneapolis and the George Floyd protests, I've said it before. There was only about 3 of us that were really doing it in earnestness, and that's Nico from Unicorn Riot, and this myself, and this guy Rich, who would never tell me his last name. Just this guy Rich was out there every night, and he was live streaming it. And there was other folks that came in and out, and there were certainly other people filming. But as far as the hardcore that were just staying up all night and just ready to be there for every minute of it, there were not a lot of people willing to do that. I mean, because it was some crazy shit. That was some just, I mean, aside from the rubber bullets, the pepper spray, everything burning down. Like a wall from a Wendy's nearly collapsed on me. Another, like a furniture store. I didn't get footage of that because it was the kind of thing where it was literally collapsing next to me, and I just had to run to save my life. So there's no video of that. Then that was the craziest one. The camera was just pointed away from it as I ran away. But I did film a furniture store collapsing. I was in, the middle of there was these pickup trucks driving by, just popping off live rounds. Could have got hit by one of those. That would not be fun.
The many risks that Rod Weber takes to get his videos.
Well,
Thank you for
yeah.
Thank you for providing what you do, because so often I'm watching your videos. I think a lot of people, especially this weekend, were watching those videos and they were happy with. I mean, I was happy with what I saw. How can people support you that are maybe a new supporter? They just found your videos this weekend. What do you accept contributions?
I don't ask for them. We don't ask for them, but if I won't turn them down. Because we're not getting rich off the film, but a good way to do it would really just be watch the trailer, watch the movie, and I believe it'll open your mind to the extent that you're gonna have a new way of thinking about this country after you watch that, and you're gonna want to share it with people. I'm I don't want to get all Tommy Russo, about this. Like I'm the 2020 the dumpster fire cult leader here, but this we were filming things that your average person just does not see.
You're not going to ask me to go in the woods and do training, right?
No.
So you're not like Tommy Russo.
No.
You're not going to ask me to give up my job and give up my life. And
no, you got to put on a unicorn onesie and go prance around with us, like Warren's old.
I don't know if I'm doing that either. Warren can do
remember,
that. I'll send Warren Lynch for.
Yeah. Well, we bumped into Warren actually. Warren came out.
I think he's the one who gave Vermin Supreme the pony idea.
No.
Yeah, Pony Trouble. Pony Trouble.
No.
In a movie.
Yeah,
way
I was
before
in
Vermin.
Pony Trouble.
Yeah.
But
No?
Vermin was doing the pony thing long before.
Oh boy.
Warren.
I think I blew Warren's little secret.
But Warren came out. He missed the entirety of the protest out there at Oak Grove. But as we were leaving, he showed up. And I was, "Hey, Warren, what are you doing here?" And we all hugged, and I don't know. It's just kind of talked about Nazis.
Warren's a good dude. Warren Lynch, a friend of the show, definitely a Malden community activist. But Rod Weber, I want to thank you so much for your time tonight.
For sure.
What do you last thoughts? What do you want to leave people with?
I say go to political events, see the process, open your eyes. When you go there in person, you will see how the sausage is made, and it'll make you reevaluate the way you think about politics. Go to these protests, seeing what happens in the streets, the way the police go after BLM, but not after Patriot Front. Well, it's a thing that you hear all the time, but seeing it in person will drive the point home. It will make you crazy, but in a good way, because it's an enlightening crazy, and it's a crazy that I think everyone should have. Everyone should be outraged at the way that the police are treating the left these days. So I would say, even aside from watching our film, watch as many political documentaries as you can, so that you can understand the process, because we're going down a road towards fascism. And if you don't have an eye out for what was in the past, you're going to have a real hard time as we move into the future. So just try to get your brain around some of these things, and spread the word. If you see a Nazi, make sure to call him out. There are those who would say to punch him, but I'm not going to advocate violence. I would just say, call those motherfuckers out. Get on Twitter, share it on Twitter, so that people who have more experience with this can get down there. Be a part of you had the Revolutionary War where the British are coming. We need to have the Nazis are coming, and that's Twitter.
That is Twitter.
I don't know what you call that network, but just
you got to
see something, share it.
That's right.
So some of us can get out there.
I love that message to the general public, because that's how you found out about Saturday, I'm sure, is the Twitters. Like the people coming out of their offices, coming out of their apartments in Boston, saw these guys, and they went on Twitter and they said, the Nazis are here. The Nazis are coming. So if you're the average person, that's the number one thing you can do, is to let us know, so that the community that is experienced, that's used to showing up, they can show up and record these guys and chase them out of town like Rod and Lauren did. And the sooner you can do that, the quicker you can do that, the better. So, because these guys like to run, they like to be in Fenway Park, And when you're posting that they're in Fenway Park, they're already moved on to Alston. You know
Right.
that's their plan.
Make a note of which way they're going. Put that in your
Yes.
tweet.
Let
or
people
your
know
Facebook
where
post.
they're going, where you saw them, what time it was, where they're headed,
Yes.
which direction, what streets. Let people know, because that
Yep.
that really does help us, so that we know. And if anyone sees them up in the Salem or North Shore area, definitely please report it, because I want to be there. I want to get. Oh my God, I was like up all night, like just praying that I was going to find out where those guys were, because I got to work. I can't leave. I can't drive to Boston most of the time. But if it was Salem, I would love to chase down this Tommy Russo guy. I would be heckling him to no end. That's the guy I'd be looking for at this point, Rod. The rest of the, I know you are. The rest of the stormtroopers, I'd be like, where is your leader? Where is the little man? Where is the little guy? He's a character.
Yeah.
I might even, like, I don't even know if I could control myself. I might even grab his hat, like, be like, dude, like, look, can we trade hats? Like, I want to try on the cowboy hat. Let me try on the cowboy hat, buddy. I'll give you my Boston hat. I'll bring a Boston hat for you.
Yeah.
All right. So we're the Young Jerks. Mike Crawford living out his fantasies right now. He wants to confront the Tommy Russo in the street.
You should give him an Antifa hat.
Rod, is that like who's your number one? Like, you've been like chasing a lot of these Nazis around. Is there like a number one person that you want to confront at this point?
Trump.
There you go. That's a good answer.
I mean,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, totally. I mean,
right?
that is.
I know that's where everyone's at, but
beyond that, because I don't think that's going to happen, because he's got Secret Service around him. Anyone else locally?
Well, Lauren would say Samson or Rayla, but they're not, the big fish in the room. I think Lauren has a rapport, a comedy rapport
with Samson.
With
Samson, I think, likes her. I think Samson.
Oh yeah,
like, definitely.
We got married.
He said some of the most vile shit to her. I've seen it, but I think he actually has a thing for Lauren.
Yeah, all these guys have a thing.
They do.
Lauren. It's it's a little bit off-putting.
It's creepy. It's creepy.
It is.
So yeah, Samson's not running for Congress, I guess. I heard.
Oh well, he dropped out. That's so sad.
Oh, did he already drop out of the race?
I don't know.
I heard he was running. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's funny. He runs campaigns, but you never see him actually do anything. Like, again, these guys are all like, it's our heritage of hard work and this and that. And it's like, okay, where's your campaign event?
Indeed.
Like, they don't do anything. They're like the laziest people ever. Like, we're gonna do a hate rally every year. That's like, that's it.
Yeah, his buddies did a super happy related event at Winthrop, a flag ceremony,
I heard.
or a flag rally the day before, July 1st, and we went out to that thing, and god damn, it was pathetic. There was about, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 of them at most, and anyhow, it's so sad. I don't even want to talk about it.
I'm sure Picard will have some video. I heard it wasn't that good for him though.
Yeah, no, it was just boring. It was just straight up boring. Yeah. So anyhow, next time.
That's good. Let them waste their time on silly events, because I mean, that's pretty much all they do. That I don't see them building a movement.
Yeah, in a sense that I mean, that was the thing. That was my takeaway that day, was that it was a win. The fact that no one was there and it was so pathetic. It's like, all right, high five, let's go.
Yeah, and the same thing with Patriot Front. Even though they had 100 people marching with them, I would guess, but probably they would look like there was about 100.
Sure.
How many of them were local?
That reminds me of something. So one of the things that that caused Resist Marxism to start to disintegrate is that they were very much entrenched with the Proud Boy activities. And when the New York City 9 case happened, that was, if you remember, there was security camera footage of Antifa and the Proud Boys duking it out after the Republican dinner club party, which Gavin McInnes spoke at. It was the one where he brings out a fake sword and waving it around. And the way the video was originally cut, they were making it seem like that Antifa had started it. But when in reality, when the trial actually started to happen, Colin Moynihan who's a journalist for the New York Times, actually got his hands on the video, did a FOIA, and you can see the inciting thing is actually
The Proud Boys.
Proud Boys throwing a bottle at them, which resulted in convictions for 2 of them, I believe. And at that time, I remember Brandon Navon saying, "Oh yeah, well, we can't do resist Marxism events anymore because the Proud Boys said we got to tamp it down." I'm like, wow, you openly admitted it. Okay, so the Proud Boys control you. But the point being is that when they have that kind of altercation and there are legal ramifications for these folks, that's
when they run.
That's when they go away.
Yep. Maybe someone has to start suing them,
Yeah, that's a possibility, I guess. I don't know.
They think that, it's funny because they kept saying that to you the other day. They were like, yeah, we know your game. You like to sue people. That's what they're afraid of, it seems like, because, a lot of these lawsuits do bankrupt. I mean, we've seen that even in the past with the KKK. Look at what's going on with Alex Jones. So, I think they do have to be careful on that. And very interesting, Rod. I'm glad you're bringing this all to our attention, all this little
for sure.
There's a lot to learn here.
Yeah, I don't want to get into what are legally actionable torts or anything, but we'll wait for them to build up, and it's a potential. We'll see.
So I want to thank you again, Rod Weber, for coming on, and I want to maybe play some more video. I don't even know if we've played this video. I just love these videos. I just love watching them. Do you mind? I mean, you can take off too, but I'm just going to throw up some video to lead out of here. Thank you so much for coming on, Rod. I also want to thank Mara Dolan for coming on tonight. She did a great job. We will definitely follow up with her. Even with Rod's criticism about some of the things she had to say, which is fine. This is what we do on the show.
Yeah.
But I definitely like, let me ask you this about Mara Dolan. Would you want to see her in office at this point, having heard what she had to say?
Oh, I don't know enough about her. She seems nice.
She seems nice. Let me ask you this question. Would you generally prefer someone to be a public defender over being a prosecutor to be on the governor's council?
Well, let's just say if someone was willing to take a look at the downtrodden, and they were to ascend to a prosecutor position like Rachel Rollins did before she became the U.S. attorney. She was the DA, and she had a policy of just null prosing protesting cases, basically like she did with me. If you had someone like that, that would certainly be better than someone who's in there to just bust balls of every poor person or every person who's ever smoked pot. I mean, they're goddamn victimless crimes, and there's no reason for that. Before I make any proclamations, I'd want to learn a little bit more about her, but it could happen.
Perfect. Thank you, Rod.
Thank you.
We're the Young Jerks. License plate time.
It's an orgy of license plates.
This is the best
Run
part.
away, coward!
Run, Forrest!
Away!
Run, Forrest!
Run away, coward! Run away! What a bunch of cowards! Run! Oh, we already got your plate, dummy. Way to hide it, though. See what you're doing? Oh, hiding your plates. Already got your Michigan bullshit, dummy. Come on. Going out live. It's all been gotten.